Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we are playing Outbreak Undead. If you're not familiar with Outbreak Undead, let me be clear. This game is not for the faint of heart. I, as the game master, have already confirmed consent with each of my players. Our lines and veils have been drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table tonight. We ask you for your consent as well. We encourage you to read the content warnings very closely. This game offers us all wonderful opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imaginations, but that can't happen without the bravery and support of every single person involved. You as well. You see, in this game, not every character is being played with the same objectives and motivations. Some are working directly against the other players and are in communication with dangerous outside forces. Characters kill characters, and the world is a very deadly place. This is a survival simulation. Our rules are clear, and they can be brutal. Roll20 is assisting us with many of our roles, but the time will come where we have to take things away from that system, make our own opportunities to move forward using our imaginations and the dice that have been laid before us. In this world, there are no magical swords here, nothing to discover to be able to help you in that regard. There are no valiant knights or castle walls to hide behind. The dangers here are far worse than dragons and magic, the things that you might find in other popular role-playing games. The enemy is the world around you, and it died a long time ago. But it was, as with all things in nature, death brings rebirth, and that rebirth has been painful. There is an echo, a dying gasp of civilization, and there is the opportunity for others to rebuild, but that can only happen through pain, blood, and much suffering. But in that greatest of darknesses, hope burns the brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jora and Alex Hillman, and in fact the entire Hunters team, for helping us to make this campaign possible. Without their steadfast support, we simply wouldn't be here tonight. If you haven't already, we ask that you sign up for the Scry program in the panels below and engage with the communities of our apocalypse directly. You can take on the role of a survivor yourself and help to divert the resources and goods to where you think they are needed most. Your choices tonight will make the difference between life and death, as it's linked to the settlements within the Rag and Bone universe. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. They're going to be there to support your efforts, and we ask that you give them the respect that they so richly deserve. Also, please, if you enjoy this content, continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow, to bring more survivors into the fold, so that we may continue to bring you this content on a weekly basis. You can join into our Discord and find others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride. You can connect with some of our creators and talk about the show, make suggestions, and discover new products that perhaps you might enjoy. Enough of all of that, however. Allow me to introduce you to the two players in tonight's little nightmare. Michelle, welcome back. Would you like to talk about what you do across the internet and a little bit about the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Yes, hello. I'm Michelle and Bradley, still alive. And my character is, I don't know about me. And I am a tabletop role player that is on Hunters, obviously, every Tuesday. And usually every Wednesday, I'm over at Official Paizo doing Pathfinder over there. Tomorrow, we are participating in a day off Twitch for the Twitch Do Better movement. So our show is actually going to move to Thursday this week. So if you usually watch us on Wednesdays, please come and watch us on Thursday instead. And everything else I do on the internet can be be found at my it's called Twitter at I am Chubby Bunny. There's just like, a lot of links on top, and yeah, that's it for me. And I want to show you guys my new pen because it's really oh man, it's relatable. That's how I think I'm going to be in about 5 minutes. Because my character is Faith, and the last time we saw Faith, she had just seen she was on the hunt for Lampwick and Achira, having known they saw something about her brother that meant his death did not happen how she had heard it was, how she had heard it happens. So, but I found Lampwick, and there's a lot going on, so we haven't actually talked about it yet. And right now I got circumvented. There's just too many Romeros, so it's gonna happen soon.
We're going to have to see how that plays out, but we're all excited to have you back, and we're thankful for your time. Luis, welcome back. You were gone last week as well, since we were focusing on May and her character Rowan. But now we get to explore more of Lampwick's story, and I think we're all excited to see how it resolves itself, given the situation that he's found himself in. Would you like to talk about all the things that you do on the internet and a little bit about your disaster puppet?
Yeah, right. Disaster puppet. Jeez. And there's something really ominous about anything resolving itself in this game because that usually means death. But that's always on the table. I'm Luis Carrazzo. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook by just putting my name, first, last name together, and I'll pop up. I'm an actor. I'm pop up on TV and film, commercials, and here. And I play Lampwick. Lampwick is, geez, there's just so much that Lampwick has done to so many people. So, Lampwick, before the apocalypse, Lampwick was a dirty, rotten scoundrel, but that's because pre-apocalypse he was on the streets and trying to survive and would use people and manipulate people. And kind of get something, whatever he needed out of them. That transferred into how he survived post-apocalypse. He acquired a baby that he used as a prop to get sympathy from people. He became the lover of Marcus, who has shown up in our series. Years ago, used him and left him, and seems to be, I guess, turning over a new leaf, but, has also joined the Shepherds, which is like a scary cult. Basically, he seems like he's the kind of person that will tell whoever is in front of him exactly what they need to hear so that he can get out of something that he got himself into. Or maybe this post-apocalyptic, terrible world is bringing out a different side in him that might be more sincere or genuine. I don't even know. So,
for 25 years, Lampwick has lived in the post-apocalyptic waste of the world, using his wits and his cunning to survive. It's worked so far, but perhaps in dealing with the Shepherds, Lampwick has gone a little too far. Or perhaps he's found his salvation. We don't yet know, do we? We only have 2 players tonight, and I'm very excited to be able to focus on these characters. Both of them have been on a very long journey, and we have a lot of loose ends to tie up. So we will be doing that here tonight. We wish Markia well on her vacation, and Melee has taken a short break to celebrate her birthday. If you find them on social media, you can wish them a happy birthday as well. Additionally, though, we wish to reward each and every one of you for supporting Rag and Bone over these past few months. We do have a few special gifts that are floating in the ether if you wish to find them. On social media, you can follow the paths that have been set before you, and you can like and share our Rag and Bone content through all of our platforms. Additionally, you can find free Content Friday Outbreak Rag and Bone Ground Zero content, and that is going to give you a very intimate introduction into the world of this campaign. Every month we give you absolutely free digital downloads on Drive-Thru RPG. All you have to do is go to their website and you'll be able to find a number of installments that will help to elaborate on many of the rule sets that I use here. Not only will you find specialized rules, but you'll find some character insights, some information about the various factions, and this month you'll be able to find some very special fiction. So we're excited to release that. All you have to do is, again, go to Drive-Thru RPG, If you are going to be in the Indianapolis area for Gen Con this year, we will be having some special events as well. We ask that you contact Alex, and you can find out more information there on Discord if you would like to know specifically when those events will be happening. However, if you would like to stay in the safety of your own home, we fully understand that. And on Gen Con TV, on Thursday night of Gen Con, you're going to find a very special session of Rag and Bone that is going to be played live before a studio audience in Indianapolis. So we're very excited about all of these things. If you'd like to find out more, you can talk to our moderators, and they will help you and guide you to the correct places to be able to engage with this content. Now, because of your work, I understand that each of the players tonight are going to receive just a single competency point, but if you would like to see the players be given additional competency points, the survivors can be aided through the fulfillment of the bars and the donation goals that we have set before us. You can find those on the screen here. We appreciate all of your support. We don't expect anything at all here at Hunters Entertainment. We're just thankful for your time and your attention. We hope that you enjoy Rag and Bone, but anything that is donated will of course go back into the products that we're serving you here tonight. I think that's about enough of all of that. However, the road is very long, and we have a long way to travel still. It's getting dark. We'll be right back. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H195 was commonly known as the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss. It was deadly, but it was even worse after the infected passed away. The virus brought them back, and they hungered for human flesh. Friend attacked friend, family slew family. Chaos broke out in the streets, and everything fell apart. At first, it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of that virus. Through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact, the infection continued to spread. The end of days were like wildfire. And throughout the world, people sought security and sanctuary where none was to be had. Entire cities burned to the ground. Everything was lost. Governments collapsed. chaos reigned. Still, some managed to survive. And for the next 25 years, life struggled forward. The world now is a fractured place. Some seek to make civilization anew. Rag and bone merchants are the brave souls that strike out into the wilderness of what was once known as the Midwestern United States. They connect all the various outposts and settlements together, bringing necessary food, water, medical supplies, all of the necessities of life to those that cannot provide them for themselves. They barter and trade. They do everything they can to help themselves, but in doing so, they help others. And through these networks, they manage to create a living, not only for themselves, but for all of the settlements and communities that have slowly gathered together. This part of what was once known as the United States is one of the few that is livable and safe. There are dangers on the far outposts of this place. The borders are surrounded by the dead and other natural disasters. The Rag and Bone, known as the Ender's Line, use old railway tracks to connect these small, scattered places together. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. Lampwick. It's 1993. Music from a battery-operated CD boombox echoes through a subway channel. The stairs smell of piss. There are crowds pushing through. You're walking down. Green tile are underneath your feet. 18th Street is emblazoned on the wall to your left. You know that music. Ragged sounds of grunge music blaring out. You see a young woman sitting with an old battered fedora hat on the ground. She has a sign made out of cardboard, a folding table, and a couple of playing cards that have been folded up. They're sitting in front of her. You are currently 19 years old, but you lie to absolutely everyone that you meet and say that you're 21. You have the fake IDs to prove this. None of them bear your real name, and you've been using the moniker Lampwick for quite some time. As you approach down the stairs, the figure looks at you. She has pink and blue hair. She's wearing a white t-shirt that has a crudely drawn figure on it, a frog or perhaps an alien with googly eyes. Written on it in what looks like some sort of crude handwriting are the words, "Hi, how are you?" Her jeans are ripped to shreds, more shorts than anything at this point. And she's pretty, but ragged. And she has the eyes of someone who's been using for some time now. Underneath the t-shirt, she has long-sleeved underwear that reaches all the way down to her wrists, and she scratches her arms, another sign that she's been using recently. She looks at you and then looks back. This is who you're looking for. She matches the description. She's exactly where she was supposed to be. Your contact sent you here and said that she was going to be able to help you make your way through the city of Philadelphia. You're new to these streets, but not new to the streets of other cities. This is your first time here, and you're looking for an end. You're looking for some sort of grift that's going to get you through the day-to-day. You're young, and you're hungry. And frankly, if your contact's right, this woman is going to help you get settled in. She's done it for a number of the other criminals that have been sent her way. Not that you use the word criminal. You're more than that. You're a survivor. So, young Lampwick, as you approach this young woman, what do? Describe yourself.
Well, at this point, Lampwick is tall. He's about 6 feet tall, and there's something about him that is hard to place in terms of age. He looks. I always talk about the age range that he could play. Some people might look at him and think he's still in high school. Some people might look at him and think he's 30 years old at this point. He's well built, and no matter where he is, even if he's somewhere new, he walks around as if he owns the place and knows the place. And right now, what he is doing is studying. He is going to place himself maybe 15, 20 feet away from this contact. And he's going to play a game that he plays all the time with people. So he's going to watch her, studying her, seeing how she interacts with people, seeing if she has a hustle, seeing if she is any good at the hustle. But also, he is going to let her know that she is being watched.
You're not going to conceal your interest. The first thing that I would like for you to do, young Lampwick, using the statistics on your character sheet now, is I would like for you to roll a sense motive. We're going to assume that your abilities to be able to read people have always been this finely honed. But it may be very much the only roll I have you make here. Go ahead and see how you do.
Would you like me to add a die of difficulty to it?
Add one die of black die of difficulty just because of your youth.
Got it.
Perhaps your cockiness is going to get in the way of this.
That would not be surprising. Okay. Let's see.
You are watching her, and as you do, you notice a couple of things. You do have 1 degree of failure on that roll, which doesn't help you because I know you do have some abilities that do help you on certain social roles. However, with 1 degree of failure, there's nothing that can occur to change that unless you would like to spend some of your competency now.
I'm not going to do that. Also, because I think this makes sense for Lampwick at this point to think that he's better at what he does than he actually is. Makes sense to me.
You are watching, and to your eye, she doesn't seem very aware that she's being watched. You think that you're not connecting to her. Either that or she's really good at ignoring you. And she works the crowd. However, you realize that she's allowing you to see something. She hasn't masked this to you. She's positioned herself as she plays this 3-card Monty with a passerby on the subway. They walk past, and you can see that she stops. There's a bunch of giggling, and she talks, and she's clearly flirting. She's using her body, and she's sort of drawing this middle-aged man in. And you see the man pull out his wallet, and he puts 2 20s down. And she starts shuffling the cards and starts showing them, and she's quick with her hands. However, there's something very awkward about it. And as she's doing this, she turns the cards over, and you see she loses. And she kind of looks downtrodden and puts another 20 down, and the man takes $60 off the table, puts it back into his wallet, and puts his wallet back. And then as he's turning, she grabs his shoulder as if he'd forgotten something and hands him his car keys. And you hear her very clearly say, "I think you dropped these, sir." And he turns and looks, and he checks his pockets and then looks back at her. And she hands him the car keys, but as she does, she pulls him into a hug. And she goes, "Go with peace, take care, man." And she walks away. And then she flashes to you his entire wallet as she puts it into the pocket of a flannel shirt that's tied around her waist. She then goes back and continues working her grift, and she draws a couple of individuals through. And the card game goes as it goes. Sometimes it's a pickpocket, and sometimes it's an actual game. But she never loses when it isn't a pickpocket. She plays along. Sometimes the individual wins money when she thinks that she can get them to up the ante a little bit. But like a professional poker player, she's got this down pat. However, you have no idea how she's doing it all. And the only sleight of hand that you're seeing is what she allows you to see, Lampwick. And you can tell because you know people well enough. She's showing off. Either that or she's trying to mark her territory. Tell me about your game.
Oh, well, my game is people. It's a hustle, but it's a different one. Lampwick is a chameleon, like an emotional chameleon. He finds the lonely people, the broken people, and he works them. He becomes the thing that the emptiness in them is longing for. And although this hustle he's watching has definitely reaped rewards for this young woman, and she's doing it really well, at least what she's allowing me to see. Part of what Lampwick enjoys as he essentially extorts money out of people. So to be specific, one of the things that he does is, especially at this day and age, late 80s, early 90s, is he would hunt closeted married men and he would woo them, and then he would blackmail them. And he would do the same thing with older married women, anyone whose life he could ruin, who he saw was missing something in a broken marriage or lonely. He would become a version of someone that they were looking for, and then he would turn it around on them. But what he enjoyed was the long game of that hustle. And watching this woman play this game and pickpocket people, as impressive as it is, it's missing something vital.
I think you're in Philadelphia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Lampwick is in Philadelphia because he has stepped too far.
100%.
I think that Lampwick was doing very well, playing these smaller grifts, and then got a little big, and decided after he had met a politician in a gay bar that he was going to pull this routine with someone in power. And the state that you had to flee out of, your city, where you started in, you can't go back. In fact, if anybody knew who you were, it might damage you in the way that there are probably people looking for you. You ruined someone's life, someone powerful. And in doing so, you made a lot of enemies, political enemies with a lot of power. And back in the 90s, there was a lot that could be done for a street kid that somebody wanted to make disappear.
Yeah.
And so I think you're in Philadelphia looking for a way to kind of make it, and you've been guided to this woman, to this young girl. She's probably about your age. She might be older, probably is. You're not certain. She sort of has an agelessness to her. But both of you, in a worldwide sort of, worldly way, you've seen a lot. You've lived 3 lives for anybody else your age, but you're still, in a lot of ways, children. And you're sitting there watching her, and eventually there's a lull. And she gets into her purse, and she pulls out a couple of sticks of gum, and she starts chewing gum, but she motions towards you with the gum, as if to offer you a piece of it.
I'm going to take note of that, and I'm going to look around and kind of feign a playful disinterest. And then I'm gonna very clearly sort of laugh to myself and strut over.
You move over, and she does watch you. And there's something in her eyes that's very predatory, but you can see that she's very good at making herself look like a victim, like an easy mark. And it plays across her face. And you come up to the little card table on the other side, and the music's kind of blaring, and she's really, really hitting this manic pixie dream girl sort of note for anyone who passes by, and trying to draw in all of these strangers as they walk in and out of the subway, trying to get them to help the poor homeless girl, and who wants to play a card game with them and do a little magic almost. So she has this aura about her as you get closer, and the gum is still being offered. Do you take a stick of it?
I do. I take it, and I smell it.
It's cinnamon.
Haha. And then I put it in my pocket. I pat it. So, I've been sent your way.
I heard that a new kid might be coming through.
Guess
Want to
that's
play a
me.
game?
What kind of game?
One that'll tell me what I need to know.
You don't have to play a game for that. I can do that myself.
I find that when people play games, they reveal more about themselves than when they talk. What do you think?
I think
Kings
you're...
or queens? What's your favorite flavor? She flips over a card, and you see the King of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts.
I'll take the queen this time. Anything but the hearts, though, unless I have to.
Flexible. I like that. All right. Queen of Spades. How about that?
I'll
She
take
throws
that.
down a card, and you see that she's not looking at the cards, but she pulled the Queen of Spades out of the deck and threw it down in front of you.
Okay. I'll take that one then.
How are you going to take it?
How do you want me to take it?
Again, flexible. I like that. She's old. She's lonely. She has a lot of cats and a lot of money that her husband left her. The mansion, 3 stories. 2 cars that never are driven sit up in the front. How do you get in?
Person like this? Lonely person?
Very lonely.
Sad?
Very sad.
Through the front door.
Okay. You're at the front door. She opens it. What do you say?
I ask her for some help. I'm trying to sell a subscription to something to raise money for a worthy cause for people in need. Put her in a position where she can get some kind of gratification with all the fortunes that she has, helping the less fortunate. Get her to talk. She's been dying for someone to start talking.
All right. She's become wary, though. A lot of people asking for money since her husband died. You come in, you start asking for donations, she gets a little skittish. What do you do?
Start talking about something else. I noticed something inside of her house. Something is going to be in there that shows me something that she's interested in. And I'm going to notice it, and I'm going to tell her that it reminds me of something that my mom had.
French porcelain dolls.
My mom loved those.
Mm-hmm.
Are those... Wow, my mom had a set just like that. I remember them from when I was little.
She starts talking to you about Paris. Asks if you speak French. What do you say?
I tried learning when I was in school, but I don't know. I don't think I had a really good teacher, but I feel like I have a knack for other languages. I did take some Spanish classes, and then I will put on a fake bad accent as I attempt Spanish. But French was just really hard, and I just think I didn't have a good teacher. But I love France, I love the food, and I really want to go one day.
All right. An hour later, she's taking a liking to you. She offers you a job as a gardener. She wants to know if you can start next week. What do you do?
I take it, and I say, whenever she offers what she's going to pay, I bring the price down in exchange for French lessons.
Okay. How long do you run it?
Well, it depends on how fast I get to move in. It seems like she's pretty desperate. It seems like I could cut it quick. I'm sure that my contact would like to see how fast I can move, but I'll let it last a month. Get her used to me.
All right. So what happens? She signed over a very large check to you. Did you stop? Did you go for more?
Well, it's not about the money. It's about the time that I've started to spend with her and
All
how
right.
much
In
she
this
reminds me.
hypothetical, you've got a contact. It is about the money. Let's clear that up right now. Okay,
Mhm.
handsome?
Yeah, I do want the money, but I want more money, and she's got more, and I know I can get more out of her. So I will take some of that money to show my contact that I know what I'm doing, and also to gauge how satisfied they are with it, because that'll tell me something about her.
So you're willing to run this for over a year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She becomes suspicious. You're going out at night. You're doing what you got to do. You've been lying to her for a while now. Things aren't starting to add up. She's starting to see through all that charm and bullshit you've been laying on real thick.
Hmm.
She threatens to call an attorney. What do you do?
Oh, boy. An attorney. Um, well, she's a lot more lonely than I am. I threaten to leave. I say to her, how dare you? How dare you accuse me of being the kind of person that I have worked so hard to never become, somebody just like my dad? And I'm not him, and I'll never be him. I'm here because I want to be here. I'm here because we have a connection. If I've done something that makes you feel that you need to take any of that in question, then let's talk about it. But
Okay, handsome.
you don't have to turn on me.
So you've convinced her, you've kept her there. However, she's got a son. He doesn't like you. He's been watching. He knows that something's going on with the gardener. Now he's involved. He confronts you. What do you do?
I don't know what you've been. Look, I don't know what you're picking up on. I don't know why you have a problem with me.
He
But
shows you photos that the woman took. You didn't know she was taking photos. Turns out she's quite perverted.
wow, looks like the victim here is me. Why is your mother taking these photos of me?
The son doesn't buy it.
Look, what do you want? You have photos of me in a compromising position. I can tell that you don't like me. What do you want? What do you want from me? Why are you approaching me like this? To humiliate me?
Okay. She stops. She looks at you. She holds out her hand.
I take
Your
it.
name, cowboy.
What's my name? They call me Lampwick.
Lampwick. My name is Isabel. You want to go get high?
Sure.
Faith. Sullivan Town is a muddy, fire-covered pit. Standing under the broken arches of the highway system that has long been abandoned. The overpass is little more than a jagged concrete cliff that's covered in old, dead vines. There are trees here, but they're barren, jagged gray things jutting up out of the ground. They've shattered the concrete. You've seen roads. Some of them have been well kept by the Citadel and other of the communities that are scattered out within the pin. You know what they can look like. Sullivan Town is a pit. It's a shanty town, a Hooverville. It's been a lot of corrugated steel and wood, old lumber, stacked on top of itself. It forms a maze. Looks more like a junkyard than a city. There are walls here, though. They've been built out of abandoned semi-trailers, seed containers, old cars, construction materials that have just been stacked on top of each other, forming an impenetrable shield from the world outside. But there are two gates. A north gate and a south gate. You entered through the south gate. The Rattler is an ATV that you and your newfound associate, Betamax, drove through that southern gate with that ATV. You were outside of the other forces of the Citadel, the survivor group that you have always been a part of. It is militaristic. They are aggressors and protectors. They coerce other survivor groups to join them. They get them to produce goods and services. They then distribute those goods and services as they see fit. They've had passing peace treaties with other groups, and they have in the past worked well with the Ender's Line, one of the rag and bone groups that is prevalent here in this part of what was once known as the Midwestern United States, outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You don't know what is all of that. You're a child of the apocalypse. You were born in the middle of all of this. Like, you were raised by the Citadel. All you know is the survival of the world in front of you, not the world that was. So you don't get what a lot of these other survivors, these older people, now called echoes, talk about when they talk about the way that things were. There are echoes that you are close to, however. Rowan and Riggs have been almost like parents to you in some ways. They've raised you in the military system. They've given you shelter and protection. They've taught you to fight. They've made you strong. You and your brother, that was your family. But your brother was killed. And it turns out, due to the videotape footage that one of the associates of a man named Kusanagi has shown you, Betamax, that you've been lied to. Your brother wasn't infected. Your brother was murdered. You don't know who did it, who pulled the trigger, but you saw him die on tape. Scratchy, horrible VHS footage from a long distance away in a tree line in the middle of that cannibal-infested hellhole. Now you want answers. You've gone a little rogue. Perhaps not officially AWOL, but you're as close as it could be. Standing on the edge of a knife, looking to make your next move. You did enter into Sullivan Town, this mud pit. It had been tainted by the group known as the Shepherds, a strange cult-like religious group that everyone calls the missionaries. They've been harmless up until now, but you and those that you've traveled with have seen too much to believe that now. They're very, very powerful, and they're doing something. A strange song started playing over the PA system that had been wired into this town. And the dead started to come in large swarms. They walked themselves off of the cliff of the overhang, the overpass, and fell into the walled city. It was raining the dead, and the dead rose back up and filled the streets. Just as the Citadel had arrived. This is no accident. This is an ambush. The Citadel are paying the price for crimes that were committed years ago. Crimes that made this place what it is. Not so different than what happened in other places. You've heard rumors. Grey Ridge, another small community that suffered the wrath of the dead. You found Riggs, one of the other lieutenants. You're newly minted yourself. You were promoted and have a lot of power within the Citadel. You're one of the 4 cardinal leaders. Outside, of course, of command. Silent, vigilant force that watches over every movement of the Citadel. Riggs is on a personal vendetta, looking for a woman known as Camilla. A woman that is pregnant, 6 months on. Pregnant with Riggs' child, seeking to escape the Citadel. Rowan is returned back to the Citadel. You found Lampwick. He's here. In the middle of the road, he was followed by the dead, and the dead were not attacking him. He was wearing the black robes of the shepherds. He's dressed like one of the missionaries. Something isn't right. Still, you gathered the information that you needed. You blazed across the radios trying to convince the others to show themselves. You have answers that you require. Questions that need to be addressed. Still, you begun moving up the street. The ATV presented itself. Betamax is still driving it, pretty grievously wounded, but not so badly wounded from those cannibals that he's not able to manage to control that makeshift military vehicle. You're armed and you're scouting ahead. Describe yourself and tell me what you're doing.
I'd wanted to immediately talk to Lampwick for the second that I saw him, but a second I saw him, there was a horde of Romeros behind him, and I rethought my revenge plan to get put on the back burner. So I had originally been scouting for Camilla and thinking that Achira was with them too, since she was the other half of this, the information that I needed about my brother. Ran to Riggs, and I got kind of set off course here. I believe was I heading up through that alley, or was I just my place there to talk to?
You had started
somebody
to make your way up that alley, but that is when the ATV arrived, because Betamax was driving it through the streets and was avoiding the horde, trying to find out where you were, and he located you. Mm-hmm. The two of you had a quick conversation, but it's up to you as to what you want to do from this point forward.
All right. I wave over to Betamax. All right, let me in. I'm not going to walk around with these fucking Romeros everywhere.
Yeah, boss. I wouldn't be out there myself. It's like a real clusterfuck.
Did you drive past that guy Lampwick on the way here?
I was there when you were yelling at him. He was in the middle of that fucking horde of biters. What the fuck is going on?
I don't know. There's something weird going on with him. He's got those robes on with, there were a bunch of weird kind of cult people. I don't know, this is all kind of Rowan's territory. I never really got all the facts, but there's something weird going on. It looks like he's commanding them, or trying to? I don't know. Fuck. I need to talk to him, but I don't want to die in that fucking horde.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise getting anywhere near that. But, look, boss. We can get the fuck out of here right now, or I can circle around and I can try to get you to the other side, and maybe you can find a way to find him. But if I keep going forward, you're going back with the Citadel, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, do you want to be back with them, or do you want to be free?
We're not doing that shit. I need to find Ashira.
Yeah, well,
All
I
right,
ain't seen her. What we could look around and try to find someone else then, if that's the plan.
We gotta get Limpwick out of that horde somehow. All right, here's what we're gonna do. So I want to explain to him that I would like to get to. Let me try to ping this on the map here.
Yeah, ping it on the map.
Um,
If you look at the map,
and
all of the red X's here, just so that everybody in the audience understands, these red X's are all the hordes that have been dropped in from the overpass. So there are two hordes. One is completely blocking the southern gate, and this one that is on the other side here is filling the streets. Now, the north gate is where the Citadel currently has a tank that is backing out. The tank is actually leaving, but there are still units of soldiers that are moving through and breaching through every single door here. They're busting into buildings. There's some gunfire. You don't know if they're finding people, but they're certainly causing a bit of commotion as they sort of sweep the area. They're moving with the precision of soldiers, though.
and the green thumbtack is Lampwick. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Where
that's where you saw Lampwick, and then you would duck back down. Yeah. He was actually here. Oops. He was in the street here, and you were over here yelling across the street before the Citadel got involved. Lampwick is down here somewhere now, but as far as you know, that horde is right here.
Okay. I'm gonna. So I'd like to try to drive backwards through this alleyway. And I'm gonna try to get on top of one of these buildings to look down and see if I can find Lampwick and try to like extract him. Basically, is the plan.
Okay, so Betamax takes your instructions. There are some soldiers that are moving by, but they don't pay any attention to the Rattler. It is one of your vehicles within the Citadel. It has the markings of the Citadel on it. It's got the emblem, the skull with the dagger through it. That's right on the hood. It is clearly a Citadel marked vehicle. They don't question it, and they salute you as you pass. So it drives down the street, and you hear some gunfire and some shouting. Some of these buildings are pretty badly damaged. The roof of an entire section of them has collapsed to your right. And as you and Betamax rumble through, the ATV is very loud. It's a diesel-driven hodgepodge machine made of many different parts and has been cobbled together by the engineers of your community. It's a bit of a Frankenstein monster, but it has been painted with camouflage, and it has the emblem of the community emblazoned on the front. And as it goes through, you see a group of soldiers kick open a door. And as soon as they do, the entire building blows. And there's a blast of fiery explosion that shoots into the night sky. And those soldiers are thrown out, burning husks, as they get shoved into the street. And Betamax curses and speeds up past it. Do you keep going or do you stop? You're muted.
We keep going past.
Keep going. Okay, so you keep driving. You use that as a distraction. You see other soldiers that are running towards the chaos of it. And you, through the radio that you have set up, you hear some transmissions coming from the Citadel because you've been flipping through a number of different channels. And the Citadel channel that you know of is immediately on fire as you hear a number of shouts back and forth.
No, we can't do this anymore. We breached a number of those doors and they're all fused. You gotta be careful. Pull back out.
And then you hear Riggs' voice.
Well, fuck it. You know what? The Bluebird, she's in the pig pen. We have full confirmation on the target. We're in pursuit. Mother Hen is on a need-to-know basis, and guess what? She doesn't need to know. Nobody radios back to base. The Citadel is under my control. Command has given me full fucking authority of the territories and all the bullshit that's happening out here. Nobody's going back. No one's turning around. You can pull the tank, line up the fat ladies. We're gonna light this thing up from afar. Every single order comes down from myself or Lieutenant Faith. No one else. Comprendo? Copy that, sir. Roger. Understood, sir. We're clearing out. In pursuit, sir.
So the radio buzzes and crackles, and you get to about here. And you do see that a number of soldiers have already made their way here. There is the corpse of a young woman in the rain. Blood is washing out into the street, and her head has been very, very much blown clean off her shoulders. I mean, her face is still there, but the back of her skull is not. And it's a hot mess. She looks like she was a wild child, one of the children of the apocalypse that sort of lives out in the wilds and has taken on the affectations of the 1990s. Pink hair, lots of colorful clothing that is now soiled in mud and blood, and she is lying there. And there are no other signs except some spent machine gun shells on the ground. There is a horde of zombies on the far side, and you see 2 soldiers in citadel armor that are positioned and firing into it. When you see all this, Faith, you and Beta Max are about there. What do you do?
I'm looking for signs of Lampwick. I don't know who this girl is. I don't know if she's part of this community or what, so I don't right. investigate that any further.
She does. Well, she doesn't look like somebody who would be a part of Sullivan Town. Everybody in Sullivan Town is very bedraggled and has lived a very, very hard life. While she looks like she's lived a hard life and has definitely got that feral look of the outsiders to her, she is she's too colorful to be from here. She has too many bright colored clothing on. Like the affectations just don't make any sense for this place. However, that's all that you need to know. I'd like for you to make a spot listen check with 2 black dice of difficulty.
Okay. Oof.
It's not going to be an easy roll for you, but I'd like to see if you can make it happen.
Alrighty. R for recon gear.
You do have recon gear, so that is going to assist you. You are in a military vehicle as well. Faith, you got a success on your roll, which is very, very good. Even with 1 success, that is all you needed.
Oh.
And so you see in the horde of Romeros as the dead are being shot at by these machine guns from the Citadel soldiers that are up ahead of you down this other alley. You see a figure duck and cover and move through the shadows, not moving like the dead. Now you don't see Lampwick's face, but whatever's in there isn't moving like the dead. And as far as you can tell, they've ducked and moved towards the corner of this building. Soldiers are here firing. What would you like to do?
I'm going to command those soldiers since I have authority here, apparently. Hey, you 2. I'm just shouting from the car. I'm not getting out at this point. I need you 2 to capture that figure in the robes over there. That's not Romero, but that's one of our marks. We need to get him.
Copy that, Lieutenant. We're on it.
Whatever it takes.
They stop firing, they shoulder their weapons, and they pull out Citadel swords, and they take riot shields off their backs. And they hold them forward and start marching forward. Immediately, the horde of the dead swells through this alleyway. And they start chopping through the skulls of the dead as they throw themselves forward. And you watch this happen. I gotta say, boss, sticking around with some of these Citadel goons, given the authority you've got, it might have some advantages.
I don't think they're gonna live very long to be that advantageous, but it gives us a little time. From the car, I'm gonna kind of pop up to the hood, or to stand. I'm in the car, but I'm sort of standing up. There's that sunroof.
Yeah, there's a lot of hatches and things that you can jump out of. There are cages everywhere, so there's lots of places that you can come out, like to shoot and turns and things like that.
I'm gonna see if I can spot. Now that they're chasing, to see if I can spot Lampwick or whatever that was, by using the scope of my rifle that I have.
All right. Okay. So you pull out your scope. I'm not going to have you make a roll. You've already succeeded. So you start scouring actually make a search check. is what I need
Okay.
you to do. Make a search check, no degrees of difficulty. You can use your equipment, and so you're gonna have a 3 times modifier on this roll. Let's see how you do as you're searching this horde of the dead. Okay, that's 1 degree of success. Faith, you have this scope up to your eye, and it's raining, and it's dark. However, you have the lights of the ATV that are illuminating this whole thing. The dead that are roaming through there. All of the soldiers have on their shoulders these large packs that have flashlights on them, and they've turned them on. They're more like floodlights, and they're shining them ahead of them as they're going through, and they're eliminating the dead. Now, these soldiers have been trained to do this. You've been trained to do this. There are different ways that you approach a horde like this, and they're experts at it. They don't seem to be afraid, and they have it well in hand because these are fairly slow moving. However, as you watch on your scope, start tracking your way through the dead, and you're watching all of these strange faces. Romero is a rotten corpse, but they at some point stop rotting, and their features become emaciated and sort of strange as the pale remains of their flesh become a network of veins, and their eyes, if they have eyes still, become these black pools, and their hair typically falls out, and they become these sort of disgusting mockeries of humanity with pulled back lips that are nothing but teeth. And so you're going past face after face after face, and you do see Lampwick ducking and sort of moving through the horde. But then, perhaps 10, 15 feet behind Lampwick, you see something else moving quickly. A dark shadow. A figure is bent, running on all fours. You can't get a good look at it. It's too fast, and you start whipping your sight, your scope, across this horde of the dead. It's getting closer to Lampwick. What do you want to do?
I'm going to take a shot at Lampwick's leg.
Roll your long gun, please.
Anyways. Don't do that noise. I'm trying to roll.
The bullet
Oh.
leaves the long gun. You have 4 degrees of success. It's a critical hit. Luckily, you weren't aiming for his head. You were taking an aim shot at his leg.
Mm-hmm.
You hit
Very nice of me.
perfectly through the flesh of his thigh. Lampwick, welcome back to reality.
What a way to come back.
You were moving through the horde. The soldiers started firing, but then they stopped. And then you saw off to the distance some of the horde started to get slaughtered by the machete, sword-wielding soldiers of the Citadel. You started to get a little more confident. You were moving through the horde. Where were you headed?
Well, I was headed down towards where I thought I saw Marcus heading with Camila. Because the last I saw, I think, was him trying to get away.
It's true. You did see him carrying the pregnant Camilla on his back. You had met eyes. Saw him turn down, start breaking through buildings, trying to escape. Soldiers. He looked wounded. Didn't look good. He was bleeding. You ducked down to avoid the gunfire when it had occurred, and you started making your way towards where you last saw Marcus. And then there is a single and solitary gunshot. I'm going to roll damage, and it's not going to be pretty. but luckily it is in your leg, and it's so expertly placed that it's not capable of killing you outright, but it could put you in a very bad situation for an extended period of time. You have been more or less healed by the administration of Mother Hodge. Your
Right.
encounter with her has left you rejuvenated, but also somewhat hollow and strange. The black bile is coursing through your veins now, and you know that you are in some way infected.
Mm-hmm.
But as the bullet rings out, you don't feel pain, but you're very aware that you've been shot. You have a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. What is your threshold?
My threshold is 8, and I am wearing body armor.
The body armor is going to reduce some of that. So put the 4 and the 5 and the 3 on your track,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you have a wound. It is going to carry over. Do you want to push the 5? Or do you
Yeah.
want to push something else? Because you got a 4 and a 3 that you can deal with, but if you hit 8, you have to reduce it to smaller than 8. So
Yeah, so I got to push the 5.
you're going to push the 5. So you push a 5 over to your wound track, which means that you're going to take a flesh wound. You look down, and a torrent of thick, very dark-looking blood, it's still red, but it's very dark, starts pouring out of your leg, and you collapse. You are in the mud on the ground, and the dead are just roaming over you. They're stepping on you, and you're being trampled.
Oh. Huh. They're all around me, a horde trampling me. I need to try to get away. I'm going to stay on the ground. Can I even move?
You can certainly move. Your leg is not moving, though. For whatever reason, you don't feel the pain, for whether it's adrenaline or what's
Something else.
recently happened to you. You're not certain. You're in the rain. Like, you're not feeling much of anything. You don't feel hunger. You don't feel the coldness of the air. Everything's sort of numb. You're numb to everything. The only other time that you felt this is when you've tried heroin.
Okay. Huh. So I am going to the shit. I can't get up. I can tell. I'm going to try to just kind of cover myself and see if I can handle the Romeros that are walking over me. But I need whatever shot me to not be able to hopefully see me if they're going to try to shoot me again.
You don't think that you're in immediate danger, Lamprecht, because even if that person who was clearly either they were trying to kill you and they missed horribly, or they did exactly what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the ground, though, and there are so many dead around you, there's no chance somebody's going to be able to target you. You're probably in a fairly safe position on the ground, with the exception of being trampled by a horde of the dead.
Yeah, I don't like that either. So I will try to drag myself or crawl, laying low, towards the edge where there's less of a mob.
And while you had this very thin grasp of what you were actually doing, where you felt like maybe you had some control, you were able to sort of steer them in a direction, and the singing helped, and you don't know if that was your intention or the words. You don't know what it was, but you felt like you were doing that. This is the opposite. You feel like you're in a sea of chaos and you've lost all control, and you are being trampled by these dead, and they're not attacking you. They don't seem to register you as a food source, but they're potentially going to kill you here if you don't do something. So you're pulling yourself towards one of these houses, trying to get to an area where you can find some sort of shelter.
Yes.
I want you to roll for me. lift pull.
Lift pull.
You're wallowing in the mud.
Hmm.
Your fresh black garment is now horribly soiled. 2 degrees of failure. Are you going to let that ride?
No, I got to use 3 points to make that a success.
If it helps you at all, you are in a location hazard.
Doesn't help me. I'm not that kind of. Don't have that trait.
It saved May's life last session, perhaps.
Oh.
We still don't know for certain if she made it, but acumen is very useful. We don't have Markia here to utilize it. So you're dragging yourself through 3 competency points is going to put you to 1 degree of success. Now that 1 degree of success is enough. And you're pulling yourself towards one of these cabins, one of these shacks, these shanty towns, the huts. And it's corrugated, painted gray and black steel. And there's a window and a little porch. And you're dragging yourself into the mud and you just see the dead roaming over you. There's so many of them. The streets, it's shoulder to shoulder Romero. And then something leaps out of the horde onto the soldiers that are hacking their way through the front of it. Faith, I need you to make a composure check.
Okay.
You see it out of the corner as everything's coming down around you, Lampwick, but you don't get a clear view. You just see something leap up out of the horde and land on the other side of it with unnatural ability.
Am I allowed to use any gear for composure? That doesn't seem like that's a real thing.
No, there
Okay.
are ways that if you are using certain crutches that you might have, such as drug use, or if
Okay.
you have any sort of addiction, there are things that you can do to sort of calm yourself down. But that's more of a morale thing. 4 degrees of failure. Do you want to ride out those 4 degrees?
Oh, that feels very bad for me. I'm gonna.
You are quite a ways away from the horde. You are in an ATV with Betamax driving. You were shouting out at soldiers. This is in reaction to what you see.
Right. Are we in a forest right now, technically, or not really? Okay, just checking.
This is not a forest. No. There's a forest out there, but you'd have to travel a few miles back.
Gonna regret this. I'm just gonna use 3 competency points, so it's not a critical failure.
Okay, so you're going to use, I would say just spend 1 to bring it down to 3 degrees of failure. It's going to be bad, but not quite as bad, and you can save that competency for later. You could always lower it depending on the degree, but I'm telling you now, narratively, the effect's going to be about the same.
Okay.
So yeah, just get rid of 1.
Okay.
That prevents it from being you standing there catatonic watching this. However, you are going to take a hit to your morale. So I need you, I'm going to actually mark something here. You are terrified. Maybe you don't say it. I'll let you narrate how this affects you. But the thing that leaped out from this horde is something unlike anything that you've seen before. It looks like a Romero, but it's been bent over backwards. Its chest is into the air, and its head has been turned around the wrong way. Its arms are on its back, like pulled, as if it were doing some sort of contortion routine. And its fingers are longer than they should be. And as it leaps down, it lands directly on the shield of one of the soldiers, who immediately hits it with the blade, and the blade buries into its neck, and then black ichor sprays out across the soldier. And you watch as the shield and the soldier are covered in black bile. The thing yells.
Fuck this. Jesus. Come on, let's go. Beta, just back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
Beta is also deeply disturbed, hits the gas and almost rear ends the porch behind you. Part of the roof next to the building collapses as he hits it, and you watch as the shack sort of crumbles in. And off to the other side, further down somewhere, another Citadel unit is dealing with an explosion. And you don't know if that's the fat ladies, the tank, or somebody breached another one of these buildings and it exploded. But you watch as the ATV Rattler spins around through the mud and Betamax guns it and turns around the corner here. And as soon as he does, you see standing in the middle of the rainy, mud-soaked road, an old man. Someone that you recognize. It's Jonesy, the old man that you met when you first arrived. Father to Robin, the young man that was also part of this community. He's wearing large blanket, a rough wool blanket around him as if he's keeping himself warm. He's standing in the middle of the road looking lost. His head is hanging low. His gray beard is soaked. He doesn't have his hat on. You can see his bald head as it's just being coated in rain. And he looks up at you. What do you do?
Hey, old man. Nothing against you. I would fucking run. I want to basically try to get, since I'm still scared, I would assume. How far back am I right now on the map? Did I?
Let me show you where you are. You didn't go 2 blocks. In fact, you don't know where Marcus is. I'm just going to move that pin there. But you're about here. You and Betamax just got the ATV out and turned here. The soldiers are down here. They were about 20 or 30 feet away from you. So that wasn't right in your face, but it was close enough. Whatever that thing was that leapt out of the horde. Now, the old man is standing here in front of your vehicle. Like he was just standing there, and Betamax slammed on the brakes to prevent hitting him. And so he's in the middle of the road just sort of staring up into the lights. And you see his face. He looks normal. He doesn't look like he's a Romero or changed or anything like that. He doesn't look sick, except he looks very sad.
Get out of the way before we have to run you over, old man. This is not about you.
You killed my boy.
I didn't do shit.
It's about you. You and your filthy citadel. We've been delivered. We've been given the light. We've been shown the way. We have faith now. The hand of Malachi has protected us. And he throws the blanket back. And he's strapped in a vest of dynamite.
Of course he is. We're backing up again. Let's go. I see if we can
I'll
just
see
back
y'all
away.
in hell.
All right.
And I need you to make a command roll to get Betamax to pull back in time before this goes off.
Okay. Any gear or kit?
It's just a command roll.
Just a command, right? Yeah, let's
Let's
check.
see how good of a lieutenant Faith is. It's 4 degrees of failure. How many
Yes,
competency
same.
do you have?
I have enough, so I will use 7, 4, 5
You make
to get
it
this
1 degree of
success. Yeah.
Well, you turned it out of a critical failure, so I would say that's a fair trade-off given what's at stake here. Whatever the device is that he's using to ignite this dynamite, it doesn't take right away. Betamax is stunned, frozen for a moment. You yell, and then he slams it into reverse, the manual shift, and you hear a grinding of gears as he slams his foot on the accelerator. and you get thrown forward. I need you to make a dodge check.
Okay. Again, no gear. Not. All right. Oh, 1 degree.
1 degree of success. You catch your hands in front of you before your face drives itself into the metal windshield. It's a series of grates that have been stacked on top of each other. It would have caused you great harm. However, you throw your hands up, you catch yourself just in time as the ATV backs through the muddy streets as the old man, Jonesy, explodes and takes the better part of the street and 2 buildings with him. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hunters Entertainment on Twitch.tv. This is Outbreak, Rag and Bone. Thank you for being with us. Lampwick. Something has leapt out of the horde. You've seen shapes moving through it since you took control of it. You're not alone here. Something else is moving with intelligence. However, now there's another figure that's caught your eye in the horde, moving unnaturally. Not quickly, though. You see a number of Romeros drop to the ground as a figure wrapped in a heavy tarp pushes through the dead, throwing a dagger upward as the knife pierces through their jaw into their brain, dropping them to the ground like a broken doll. Another dead falls, and another, as this figure pushes closer and closer to you, fending them off, shoving them forward, wrapped in leather that has been strapped very crudely onto their body. They throw their forearm up as you see Marcus's face. The dead lunge towards him, and he reaches down and holds his hand out to you.
I take it.
We need to get you out of here.
We need to get us out of here.
He kind of shakes his head and is looking at you in your robes, pulls you up out of the dirt and shoulders you. Can you stop these things?
I can stop them from wanting to come after me, but just stay close to me.
They are coming to him, and they are trying to get to Marcus, and he continues to shove them aside, and now that he has a hold of you, he can no longer stab them.
I'm going to get in between him and the horde, and I'm going to put my hands up, and I'm going to start softly humming the song, and I'm going to start moving towards them. I have drawn whatever it was that I can recall of whatever markings Deidre and Mother Hodge had on their palms. If that helps at all, I'm not sure if I am aware of it or not, but I'm trying to do what I can.
I'd like for you to make a command roll with 3 black dice of difficulty.
Okay. Do I see Camila anywhere?
You do not.
Copy that.
You don't know where Marcus came from, though.
Okay. Come on.
4 degrees of success.
Makes it 5.
Of course it does. You start humming. You reach your hands outward. They stop, inches away from your face. The fetid rot of their breath covers you. You see maggots crawling from a drooping eyelid down across the cheek as the figure lunges slowly towards you and then stops. And the others follow suit as they start passing around you and Marcus like a rock in a river.
Where are we located
You're about
right
10 feet away from this building here. Now that you're standing, you see where Marcus came from. You see a bleary-eyed Camilla standing with Marcus's gun, holding it, aiming it at you.
now? At me.
Yeah. She looks a little confused, but she's like holding it up. She's shaking, and she's like moving between you and the Romeros, but she's holding it in your general direction.
I'm going to keep my position, but I'm going to tell Marcus, we need to get her stable. We need to get her to not make any drastic moves right now. She doesn't know that we're okay.
Cherry's dead. She died.
I'm sorry to hear that, but
Those
if we're
bastards,
not careful...
the Citadel, they did that to her. They
They
murdered her
did.
right in fucking front of my face.
Well, I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm not surprised if they would do that, and they will do that to us.
I don't know what you're doing right now with this cult bullshit, but I'm getting Camilla out of here.
Good.
And you're gonna make that happen.
I'm going to try. So let's stop fighting, and let's work together. We need to get to her, and we need to move together as close as possible. And I say we move in that direction. I'm going to point where the horde seemed to have broken into and has been spilling in from. That's our way out. There's no way the Citadel is going to follow us through this. But you got to trust me, and you got to stay as close to me as possible, and so does she.
I'm not standing in the middle of these corpses because I didn't think that you couldn't make that happen. I'm getting Camilla. You're coming with me, and then we're going to follow your plan.
Let's do it.
You begin moving through the horde. With a critical success like that, I'm not going to force you to make another roll for a little while, but the dead are very interested in Marcus, and it takes every ounce of your concentration as you continue to hum and sing, trying to hold back the dead that are flowing past you. And every once in a while, something moves quickly through the crowd, and it gets a little too close for comfort. It's moving like an animal, low, on all fours. You've seen what the shepherds can do with flesh, how they can pervert the dead. You don't know what's out there. You haven't seen it clearly yet, but it can't be good. You push towards the shack, and you see Camilla, who looks like she's about to pass out. She's pale. She's holding her hand on her belly, and she has this gun that she's trembling, covered in blood, but you don't think it's hers.
All right, we got to do this now, and we got to do it quick. There's a lot of chaos that's going on. There's bombs that are going off, so there's plenty of distractions. And even though it may not seem like it, the Romeros are drawn to that noise and drawn away from us. So just stick close to me, and let's get the fuck out of here. And I'm going to get right back into that song, and I'm going to keep both of them as close to me as possible.
Marcus grabs your shoulder as you turn and start singing. You stay close. But what about Achira?
She will find us. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Let's move. Marcus shoulders Camilla for a moment and then looks to you. You better be able to keep them away from us because I can't do shit to protect us with both of you hurt like this.
I'm going to try to walk on my leg a little bit.
Not going to happen. You need some sort of support. Whoever shot you did a real number. It doesn't hurt, but you can't put weight on it. Effectively, it's dead to you for the moment.
Okay. Then I'm gonna do my best. And I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna keep them close. Well, I mean, Marcus is keeping us both close because we're both wounded.
Marcus
I'm
is in the
gonna-
middle of the two of you, and he's kind of pushing Camilla inward. Like Camilla's almost walking backwards, and her belly is kind of held into the three of you as you kind of push forward. It's very slow going. The muddy streets, the unstable terrain, the dead all around you, they're surrounding you. You're in the middle of a horde of the dead. Now, you have gone through a lot. And you think you have this under control. But I want you to really think about being surrounded by the undying, hungering dead. About the stench and about their intentions to tear apart any living thing that they find. And while you're holding them at bay, you're really pushing things here by carrying two people through the middle of this horde. So I am going to ask you, now that you have Camilla with you, to make another command check with 3 black dice of difficulty. And this is going to get you about halfway into the middle of the horde.
Okay.
Somewhere in the distance, Lampwick, there's more gunfire and then another explosion. One single degree of success, which is in fact enough, but barely.
Well, it would be 4
Does it automatically turn into 4?
automatically.
So with 4 degrees of success, you have masterfully controlled the dead around you. It's more difficult than it was, but you push through that. You focus. You believe that you have control of them. And as you're moving through, start to hear it. Slow whispers build from the horde around you. You hear their steps and their growling. But all of that lessens as the whispering seems to grow. Your vision becomes a little fuzzy, and you're in the middle of the sea of the dead. Marcus is looking very intent at your face. Lampwick, I need you to stay with me.
I'm with you.
Are you sure about that?
I am. I'm with you. I'm also listening. Let's keep moving. Trust me.
Camilla looks scared. She's sweating. She's getting nervous.
Stay with me, Camila. We're gonna
I
get out of here.
need you to make a detect motives check.
Mm-hmm. Any difficulty?
No difficulty.
Whew.
4? Is that a 4?
That's a 4.
Mm-hmm. 4 degrees of success. She's about to break. She's failed her composure and her morale is very low. Unbeknownst to Lampwick, she just watched someone die in front of herself. Like Cherry shot by the Citadel right in front of her. She's about to make a break for it. She can't handle this. What do you do?
I put my hand on her shoulder and I start to tell her, Mija, quédate conmigo. Stay here with me. Stay here with me. Think of the baby.
Papi, aquí.
Aquí, quédate aquí. Estás aquí.
Vámonos.
Estamos juntos. Vamos despacio. Let's go slow.
Sí, sí.
Sing with me. Both of you sing with me, both of you. And I'm going to sing the song and hum it softly. And I'm going to keep coaxing her to sing it, at least hum it with me.
Marcus has a look on his face like he's licking the bottom of an ashtray, but he sings and hums next to you, as does Camila. And the three of you make your way through the horde as gunfire and explosions rain through the gray, rainy streets of Sullivan Town. Faith, Betamax looks to you. There's been an enormous explosion in front of you. There's a crater that now is smoking and filling the street in front of you. He looks over at you desperately. Boss, do I go ahead, forward, or back? You gotta tell me right now.
I don't know, maybe that explosion scared that thing away.
You want me to go forward through the crater? I think this thing can make it.
All right, let's go. We can circle back around.
Slams it, and you pass by the alley, and as you do, you see that thing, and you see the Citadel soldiers start to stand again. Their throats have been ripped out. You see bone. And this thing is on the ground. Large, dragging piece of skin outside of its mouth as it starts moving forward like a predatory animal low to the ground. You only catch it for that brief moment, but you swear you locked eyes with it. The ATV, the Rattler, plunges through the streets, through the smoke, through the crater, as you get rattled almost out of your seat completely. Betamax is good with this thing. He can drive. He's badly wounded. You think that if he got out of this vehicle, he would probably die almost immediately. But right now, he's skilled at this. He's able to help you. And the two of you drive further down the street to about here. I need you to make a spot listen check with 3 black dice of difficulty, but you can use any of your equipment.
Okay.
The radio is crackling. You hear more cries from the Citadel. You have 3 degrees of failure. Do you want to ride that out?
Yeah, I don't really have enough to do anything huge, so I'll just keep it.
All right. The radio is too loud. It's spurting Citadel commands and code. You hear it over everything else. You don't hear anything at all. You and Betamax continue to drive this way.
Yeah.
What do you do when you start approaching this wall here?
I want to see if at that point the horde has moved forward enough that we can get behind them, or if they're still there or not. So if those extras are there, I don't really know.
This is the western wall. So as you get closer, the dead are over here. The Citadel's pulled out, but it looks like they're started to shell. And you hear on the radio,
Jaybird, do you come in? You copy, Jaybird.
that's your call sign.
Yeah, copy. It's a mess in here.
Which 20?
I'm kind of by one of the walls. Hard to tell right now. I'm trying to extract one of these assholes that I think crossed me, but I got caught up in some huge Romero swarm. I'm trying to get out.
Big Bad wants to know when you're en route.
Whenever the Romeros get out of my way. So maybe now, maybe I stay here forever. I'll do my best.
Extraction, we can redirect crew.
Just give me 5.
Copy that. Big Bad's gonna be red hot, but I'll relay the message.
And do I know what Big Bad is at this point? I can't remember.
Big Bad is Riggs. That's his call
Got
sign.
it. All right. So I see the wall. I see there. I can't. I was hoping they had moved forward, but they have not. I'm gonna say we loop around. So like through.
You're going to
this
go
way.
that way? Okay, you're going to turn back
Mhm.
around and go down this other alleyway that seems to be clear.
Yeah, I'm trying to loop back around to where I think Lampwick, was, with no knowledge of, where he's moved or anything like that. And just do another pass. And if I can't find him this time, we'll see. See what happens.
Okay, so you turn here and you actually get further away. Make another spot listen check with 3 black dice in difficulty.
All right. Fun. Oh, shit.
Okay. 2 degrees of success. The radio is quiet. The rain is still pelting down. You hear the horde shuffling from behind you, probably 2 blocks away. But as you're looking back, something catches your eye. A glint of metal inside of the horde, and it's moving this direction. The opposite direction of the horde.
All right, Betamax. You think this thing can run over some Romeros?
I mean, boss, I'll do it. I'm not really sure if it's going to make it or not, but might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, you know what they say. You only live once. Let's go. And I want to do
Yeah.
the whole ramming speed at that thing.
All right, boss, here we go. And he slams his foot down for the 3rd time on the accelerator as you drive the Rattler through the dead. Now, this does have, as I described it, a plow shield on the front of it, made for this sort of excursion. It's also made for moving large barriers and pushing through walls when necessary. However, it is an ATV. It is not a tank, so you won't be able to necessarily overcome every obstacle in front of you. I'm going to make a drive check for Betamax, and that's going to determine a lot of this. However, I'm going to let you make a command check to see if you're going to be able to encourage him, whether that be through positive or negative reinforcement. I'll leave it to you.
Here we go. That's no good. I do nothing.
Yeah. So you shout some commands, and he's like focused. I got it. Just stop yelling in my ear.
All right.
As he drives forward, and the dead start flinging over your windshield. He then needs to make a secondary check to prevent you from ramming into the people that you see in front of you. He rolled an 8. 0, 8. So that's very good. He slams on the brake, and just an inch away from you, Lampwick, you see the Rattler as it's plowed through the dead.
Now, this is the one that I saw earlier, and I recognize it.
Yeah, this is the one that Faith came out of and was yelling through.
Right. Oh, well, this is the one that we were in before as well.
You know the Rattler.
Oh, yeah,
It has
we
the
know the Rattler.
Citadel emblem on it. It is familiar to you.
Now, how do we still have Romeros around us?
Yes.
All around
You're
us.
in the middle of the horde now, and they're filling in around the ATV. And because of the sounds of the engine and everything, they're turning on it and they're rocking it and pushing it.
I'm gonna turn over to them, and I'm gonna tell Marcus and Camila, keep singing no matter what you do. And I'm gonna turn to the Rattler. I don't know. I know I saw Faith earlier. I'm still assuming Rowan might be around here. And
You
I'm
only
just gonna
see shapes inside of it. You don't see who it is.
Faith, Rowan, I'm hoping that that's you, and we need to get the fuck out of here now. And I think that's all the time I have. I have to jump right back into the
Yep.
song, and
I need you to
just
make another
waiting.
command check with 3 black dice of difficulty.
Yep.
You broke your concentration.
Yeah, and I as a part of that, I am definitely gesturing towards where we're heading, which is the breach. Is there still a giant horde moving through that?
So there's no breach in the wall.
Oh,
They
there
were
isn't.
coming from above. the
Right.
overpass that had broken like a cliff over Sullivan Town.
That's right.
The shepherds had summoned them in, had called them in, and they'd fell out of the sky like rain. And it's about 50 feet up.
Okay,
So you have to get to a
got
gate, or you have to make your own opening if you want to drive the ATV out of here. Otherwise, you could try to climb out.
Yeah, so on the map, then, since this is not now that you remind me what that is, that's okay.
There was a small person-sized hole that had been made, but somebody had blocked it intentionally, preventing all of you from being able to get out. Somebody had trapped you in here. This is all one big giant kill box. Somebody planned for things to go down like this.
Of course. So I think that we're trying to cross the river, essentially, to get to this side, and then hopefully make our way out the other gate.
When your concentration breaks, Marcus throws Camilla onto the hood of the ATV and starts to jump up onto it himself as the dead start grabbing at them. And you watch as Marcus's vest is ripped as the dead are clawing at him as he breaks away. Did you make your command roll?
I'm going to do that right now. I just wanted to see the layout. Okay. 3 dice of difficulty?
Yes.
Oh, come on. Okay. I'm going to burn 3 competency points to make that 1 success, which will make that 4 successes.
So you start to slip, Lampwick.
Oof.
You feel them grab onto you, like they actually have hands on you, and their eyes start to turn from disinterested into ready to destroy you and rip you apart.
Oof.
And you watch as their faces change. And then you start singing and you start pushing back and you just refocus at the last moment. And they stop again, but only within about a 5-foot radius of you. The others are riled and they're shaking the ATV. Marcus is desperately pulling Camilla out and is swinging wildly with a citadel sword and chopping at Romero's as he pushes her onto the roof of the ATV. Faith, someone is on the roof now. You see these people climbing on the ATV, but you do clearly see Lampwick singing at the dead around him, and they seem to be avoiding him. What do you want to do, Faith?
I'm going to tell Betamax to keep moving forward. We're basically going to drive past Lampwick. And I want to grab him and pull him into the car.
All right, so the ATV has a number of metal siding flaps with slits in them. You can fling one of those flaps open and try to pull him in without opening the door, or you can try to go up through the turret on the top and try to pull him up. Which one would you like to do?
I'll go through the top.
Okay, so you're going to go through the top, and you see Camilla and Marcus on the roof. There is a pregnant woman that you know, and that you had found inside the cannibal lair deep in the woods, and she looks at you. Faith?
Hitchhiking?
Yeah, I guess so. Have you seen my father? And she kind of passes out right in front of you. Marcus looks at you as he climbs up. Drag her in if you're going to go out. I'll cover you. And he takes the gun off of Camilla and starts using it to shoot at the Romeros as they're clawing up at the ATV. Now, it's still moving forward. Lampwick, you're singing, but the ATV's moving at a walking pace, you know? And you're walking in front of it singing.
I'm going to get on the side of it.
You start to move over to the side, and then, Faith, what do you do?
Come on in. I told you we have to talk.
We got to talk. We got to get the fuck out of here. I need a hand, please. I got hit.
Yeah.
You're limping heavily as you're leaning on the ATV. And do you help him up?
Yep, sure do.
Lift, pull. 2 black dice difficult.
I mean, fail or don't fail. This is going to be a win for me. Sorry.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it is true.
Ooh.
Either way.
Hold on here.
Those are the best situations that you can put yourself in.
It
Outbreak
saved
Undead.
you, buddy.
1 degree of success. You pull Lampwick up, and as you get him about halfway, Marcus stops shooting and grabs him by the robes and kind of helps you pull him up the rest of the way. You're now on the roof as the ATV is traveling slowly through this horde, and it makes its way out. Everyone seems to be safe. Mila has had her arm up to the elbow about amputated, and you can see that there's blood flowing from the wound as it's been aggravated horribly, and she's lost a lot of blood, which is why she's probably so delirious. None of you are especially well trained in the medical arts, but you all can tell she's going to need some help. This has been too much, and that wound is most likely going to get infected if it's not cleaned and dealt with soon.
Faith, can't you do something with this? I think I've seen you do something.
Not right now. We're a compound that's about to be overrun with Romeros. We need to get out of these 4 walls first.
All right,
the
let's get the fuck out of
ATV
here.
gets about here. You are clear away from the swarm that is behind you. However, the Citadel is still shelling this entire town. Buildings are blowing up. Now, this side doesn't seem to be getting hit. Because of whatever you've radioed in, Faith, it looks like they're holding their fire on this side of the complex. However, all of this side is on fire and things are exploding. And you just hear, it sounds like a war zone as buildings explode and you hear more radio chatter. Betamax starts kind of flipping through the channels, and you hear someone else buzzing off the radio.
I hate these things. Look, I don't want to say names. I'm where you left me. Everything's okay. Still kind of woozy, a little beat up, but we found those VHS tapes, and I'm hoping you're still out there. Like to get that return that we talked about taken care of. I've been in conversation with our friends on the other side. You know, the ones I'm talking about. The ones that walk the rails. Anyway, look, you know who I am. Friend of Blockbusters. Come and find me if you're still alive. If not, it's nice knowing you. I'll be where you left me.
Do we recognize that voice? Is that Kusanagi?
Kusanagi. Well, you recognize the voice of Kusanagi immediately.
Is that one of your friends?
You know him. He was at the Citadel for a little while.
Yeah, you know Kusanagi, but maybe you didn't recognize his voice.
Yeah, he's one of ours, us, me and you and the rest of us.
No, I think he's one of your friends. But I think my friend Beta might recognize him as a friend.
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
think?
I recognize that asshole. He left me to die with those Citadel freaks, or those cannibal freaks, after I did what he asked me to do. I've been watching you. I know who you is, Lampwick.
Huh, who are you? I don't know you.
Yeah, you don't, because I'm paid for you not to know me. Call me Beta.
Is he your
Max.
friend, Faith? Who is this guy?
Yeah, he's a friend. I'm allowed to have friends that you don't fucking know. Our priority right now is to get out of this town. Number
Right.
1. Number
Our priority-
2, whatever else, wherever your friend is, I don't really give a shit. We'll take care of that stuff later, but we all get to get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
You just saved your ass. A little gratitude to be nice, you religious freak.
We were getting our way out, but I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that we're on the same side like we were the last time we
Stop
saw each other.
arguing. Drive.
What he said.
I make the commands around here. I'd like to make
the
a.
commands.
I'd I want to make a check for anywhere around here, because like we can't see it because it's bloody, right?
Yeah.
So basically, in this zone where both Michelle and Faith don't know what's happening on this map, I want to look for a weak point in the wall anywhere that could be rammed down with the car.
All right. Well, you're in the ATV. It is meant for some of this. It would take a particularly weak spot in the wall, but there are mortar shells that are being shot all over this place. If you want, Faith, you could call in a strike on a wall.
Ooh.
Or if you do want to leave the Citadel fully out of this, I can have you make a roll to try to just see if you can find a natural weak spot that could be rammed.
Or what if I spend survival points to find this item, which is...
There is dynamite within this complex, within this town.
Oh, okay.
Because the
that's right. We saw
Jonesy
someone use
used it to explode himself in the middle of the road.
I think I'll do that route. I'm gonna try to.
How many survival points do you have? It's a pretty high quality item.
I have 395. I haven't used any in like 3 months.
All right, I'll give you some dynamite.
Yeah.
How many? Dynamite.
How many? Do you need all those points or just some of those points?
I'm taking 200 survival points from you.
Okay. See, that did have a lot. I wasn't sure if that was a lot or not. All right.
It's a lot, but I'm taking a lot. You start scouring the area, and you see an area here on the unrevealed part of the map that looks like a small shed, like many of the other buildings here. However, it's built a little differently. There's nothing else around it. It's kind of standing on its own. Everything is so stacked on top of itself that a lone small shed in the middle of the street by itself stands out. Additionally, there seems to be well-worn tracks all around it. Carts and carriages, horse hooves. Something has been moving through here fairly recently. Even in the rain, you can still see that this is a well-worn road. And the rest of the buildings are all destitute and decayed and unused. So whatever this shed is, they've been using it. Do you want to investigate it?
Sure do.
So when you dismount the ATV, does anyone go with you?
I wish I could.
Yeah, you can't walk. So it's just going to be Faith. Marcus is covering you. He takes his gun and kind of covers you as you walk up to the shed. The door is closed, but it's a loose wooden board doorway that has been hung up on a number of old hinges. And you walk up the porch, and you're outside of the rain now as your head is being covered, and you smell gasoline and gunpowder.
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna check the door for traps because I know that the village has been booby trapping all of the doors here.
Search check, please.
Okay. Let's see.
It's 1 degree of failure. Do you have any competency left?
I have 2.
Do you wish to use those 2 competency here? You could just fail it and hope that there's not a trap here.
Oh, man.
Die now or die later? What the hell? I used my 2 competency, and now I've got 0.
It's a good thing you did. There's a
tripwire.
Okay. You open the door and nothing happens, and you know it's not connected to the door, but you see the tripwire, and it is indeed running to a grenade on the other side. If you had just walked in, you might have pulled that, and that would have caused this entire shed to explode. Inside are a number of crates. They're marked Grey Ridge.
Oh. I opened the crate that looks the most like it would hold dynamite.
There is a crate full of straw. Inside of it are no less than 30 sticks of red dynamite. They're sweating
There's okay. How?
And you've been trained to know that when dynamite
Uh-huh.
sweats, it's unstable.
Oh.
That's nitroglycerin. Highly explosive.
I take only the amount that I think I would need to blow a wall. Faith would know how many that is. Like 3, 4.
To take down one of these walls, you're probably going to need all 30 sticks.
Oh shit. Okay. How much is that to carry? What does that look like weight-wise?
It's a big heavy.
Size-wise?
It's a big heavy crate. You can do
Okay.
it on your own, but you will be making a lift pull with 1 black die of difficulty. If you want to get help,
Yes.
then we can remove that die of difficulty.
All right. I call back out. Hey, I need one of you to help me lift this box. Remember, if we don't use this dynamite, we all die. So this is not just a me thing out here.
Marcus
I'll
is
do
hurt.
it. I'll do it. Here, and he hands you the gun, Lampwick.
Okay, I'll
Cover
take it.
us.
All right.
I could have fucking covered you.
You could be
I'm
the
not
one to
giving
help.
you
You're
the
the one that's
fucking
got
gun.
both your legs working. Why don't you go out there?
He kind of looks at you and then looks back, and then you notice that he's actually really badly wounded and bleeding down the side of his body, down all the way, like covered in blood. Like, he doesn't look great. But he kind of looks at you. Yeah, I'm in great shape. Marcus steps into the mud and the rain and walks over to Faith. Both of you go inside. He sees the crate. This isn't
Let's do
good.
this. No, it's not great. We got to be quick about this.
Well, quick and slow. We got to be careful.
Okay, coordinated then. Count of 3,
1,
2,
3.
3.
Make a lift pull check for me.
Okay.
No dice of
this is-
difficulty.
This is terrifying.
As you move sweating dynamite out of the building.
Oh, thank God. It's 1 degree of success.
And Marcus has 2 degrees of success.
Oh, man! What are the
So,
odds?
With 3 degrees of success, you carefully carry it out into the rain. Now, you're not far away from a wall. Did you have a plan for this?
Any wall will do. How about that one? Point at the closest one and make our way over there and set it down.
It's a stack of cars that are rusted out right next to each other. All right. We're going to spread this out, or are you going to do this all at once?
It's more fun to do it all at once, isn't it? I want to put it just like as central as we can to the apex of the pile to blow it.
Okay. You set it into a position that you think is going to be advantageous for an explosion. It's a lot of dynamite.
Yep. And we back all the way up.
A loud
and-
bang.
Well, we're gonna move fast. Let's
Mhm.
hope. And I will use one of the 5 flash grenades I still have from way back when to throw it into that pile so that we are as far back as we can go, and I'm throwing this grenade to light
Yeah.
it as opposed to lighting it by hand.
The straw is still pretty dry, even though it's raining. So if you open up the crate and you throw the flashbang into there, the whole thing's probably going to catch on fire. And that nitroglycerin will go up like that. So I'm not going to make you make any rolls. You're good enough with a grenade that you're able to pull back and throw it. However, when the explosion rocks the wall, it does more than you anticipated. Not only does the wall collapse, but a large swath of this corner of Sullivan Town collapses with it. And the ATV is covered in mud and debris as a smoking hole is filled in the back corner of this place. And you see the jagged remains of a highway. What do all of you do?
I'm bracing myself because I'm expecting for us to haul ass.
I
and
want to see
get
if
the
the
hell out of
car.
here.
Yeah, I want to see if the car can still move through the debris, even covered in this mud and stuff.
Okay, so you and Marcus are still outside of the ATV?
Yeah, I would say we were probably just like right next to it as I threw that guy. Okay. So I stick my head in the ATV. All right, who's still alive? We good?
We're good. Let's go.
All right, Beta, see if this thing still starts. Let's go.
Beta tries to drive through the debris, and does everybody get it on board?
Yes.
007. I've been rolling really
Nice.
super
Nice.
well on this end. Beta drives you expertly through the debris. The Rattler ATV leaps over large broken concrete, and while everybody takes a good shaking, you make it out. You're out in the wilds, outside of the city. You hear the radio buzzing.
Jaybird, what the fuck is going on out there? I need to report ASAP.
Do you respond?
I take the walkie and I turn my gain like all the way down. Well, just there's like a little bit left. And I click in. And I just make some noises. That's it. I unclick it and I turn off the radio. Well,
Well. Well is exactly it. What are you up to?
I can ask you the same question. I would like to wait for us to stop once we're far enough away. Is that happening like now, or are we going to do some stuff before we do a pit stop here?
It's raining still, and it's dark. There's fire behind you. Even in the rain, Sullivan Town is burning. The night sky is ablaze with the remains of that sad, draggled place. You're certain no one has survived. You don't know where Achira is, but you're moving forward down this broken, jagged road. Nature has taken most of it back, but there's still patches of concrete that are clear. See old rusted sign markers. A few side streets start to appear. Small, burnt out old buildings. And you drive in silence. During this hour, does anyone attend to Camilla?
I am there trying to calm her down.
You don't need to. She's unconscious. She's bleeding out.
We need to help her. Does your friend that drives know how to patch this up at all?
My friend that drives needs to keep driving, and that I need to patch him up is actually a little more urgent. I'll do what I can.
More urgent
for
than
Camilla.
her.
I'll do what I can for Camilla.
Are
So
you
while we're
going
still
to-
moving,
Mhm.
yeah,
Tell
I'll
me
do
what
a
you're
medicine.
gonna do.
I'm just gonna try to stop the bleeding if it started again. If there's anything visible, like
Mhm.
just
It's a first
stopping
aid
blood.
check. Yeah,
Okay.
no degrees of difficulty. It's fairly routine. She was already taken care of, bandaged up, and her wound was burned to try to seal it, as you well know since you were there. But it's weeping and it's open. You have 1 degree of failure. Is there anything you can do for it?
Or can't.
You're out of competency. Do you have competency?
I do, and I would, if I can, since I was willing to assist in calming her down and helping out with this, can I use mine?
How many competencies do you have remaining?
I have 1, but I can give you survival points
Hmm?
if you will take them.
How many survival points do you have? Because I didn't offer that.
I have 325.
You have 325. I think I've been remiss in helping you to alleviate yourself of these survival points. Sure, I'll sell you competency at 100 apiece.
Oh, so expensive. Ooh.
happens.
Just see what happens. Is there a benefit to give you the one competency point that I have to at least make this a wash?
It
don't think
will
it's the
benefit
same, right?
Camilla. It will
Oh.
benefit Camilla if it's a wash, but it is still a failure.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll give
Any
you.
degree of difficulty that you leave on this, or degree of failure, is going to be untended to wounds that could be catastrophic for her.
Oh, injuries. Okay.
So I am going to, despite my own injury, despite everything that I've been through, I'm going to muster all of my focus and attention and help Faith tend to Camilla. And I'm going to use the 100 survival points.
And
the competency.
All right. So that brings it to 1 degree of success, and Faith, you do everything you can to keep her alive. She will survive. She's unconscious, and she's delirious and probably has a fever. That's the best that you can do for her now. She's going to need to be warm. She's going to need food and probably a safe place to recuperate if she's going to survive.
We need to go where Kusanagi was saying. I don't know. He's trying to reach one of us.
Where's Kusanagi?
Achira probably would have known.
Where's Achira?
I know where he is. We left him behind. It was one of the Ender's Line safe houses.
In that town? Or somewhere outside of that
No.
town?
Outside.
It was about a half day out.
Which bunker?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I
Well,
don't know.
But you know how to get there. Okay, well then let's...
I know how to get there, but I can't say that I quite recall.
Uh-huh.
Lampwick, I need you to make it a detect motives.
Okay.
I feel like you're good at this, so.
Well, sometimes.
1 degree of success. Yeah, you know Marcus, but you also are aware when somebody's holding something back. He knows, but he's not saying, and his eye kind of lingers on Faith.
Yeah, I get it. All right, well, Marcus, I trust your judgment. Lead the
Well,
way.
first of all, I'd like to reiterate that this Kusanagi person's no friend of mine.
Look, boss,
But that's where you think Achira is heading.
I don't know if that's where Achira is heading. In fact, I think that we should have made it easier for her. Well, she'll find our tracks if she needs to. If she made it out of that alive, then she'll come and find us.
Look, boss, I don't want to interrupt any of this, but I gotta say, I'm gonna have to stop and refuel. So y'all are gonna have some time to figure out whatever is going on here. But I'd appreciate it if you could take a look at this when you get a chance. And he pulls his hand back, and it's just covered in blood from his side as he continues to drive. And you see an old church on the horizon that looks fairly intact. You want me to pull over here?
That looks perfect.
Let's
Let's
do it.
pull over.
It's fairly sizable, old building. It looks like half the roof is collapsed, but there are a lot of rusted out cars in the parking lot. There's a bus that was painted white at one point, and says Glory of Faith Ministries across the side. And as you pull into the dark parking lot, the rain is still falling in sheets. You see a pair of large double doors up on some stone steps. It's got Gothic architecture. It looks like at one point it was a very wealthy and well-built building, but now it's sort of shallow, small, draggled and sad. Not so unlike Sullivan Town itself. But the ATV stops and the engine dies down. First things first, Faith, do you want to make another first aid check to try to help Betamax?
Yeah. For sure for Betamax.
Okay. Okay, so you're trying to stop the bleeding and prevent him from eventually going into a catastrophic situation.
Yeah.
He's not quite there yet. He's managed to hold out because his wounds, while bad, are not maybe fatal, aren't that bad. That's 4 degrees of success.
I cure him.
Well, you don't cure him, and that's not how this game works. But
Wah.
you do manage to do almost your absolute best here, and you stitch him back up, and he's no longer bleeding, and the wound is going to heal pretty cleanly, but it was bad. And if you hadn't gotten to it, you think he might have had an hour or two before he was passed out. And he's in good shape now. And actually, he's more comfortable than he was before. And you've managed to find a few of those homemade painkillers in some of the boxes. And he takes one of those, and then he goes about work. Marcus helps him as he puts some more oil into the engine and starts to fill up the tanks with the biodiesel cans that are on the back of the Rattler. This gives you about 30 minutes. Do you leave Camilla in the car? Do you take her inside the building? What do you want to do?
I would bring her in the building.
Okay.
I'll help you.
You, Lampwick, I will remind you, have a wound of your own that is preventing you from standing.
Yeah. Is there anything around here that I can kind of use as a makeshift crutch?
Yes. There is a very, very sharp-looking pole. It is a spear of metal that is used inside the Rattler to shank the dead through the slits in the viewfinders along the side of the Rattler. And you can take that, and if you wrap something around it, you can sort of use it as a crutch.
I will do exactly that.
Take like some fabric and wrap it up, and then you have a really sharp crutch, but you're using it to support yourself. And since it's made out of steel, Citadel steel, it's very, very strong.
Great. I know that might need to use that at some point, so as a weapon. So I will track that. So I'm going to accompany Faith and Camilla, just in case she starts to wake up. Maybe I can't help physically, but I can help mentally.
So the two of you carry the pregnant woman up the stairs of this church to the double doors, and you push on the large wooden doors, and they creak open and then stop. There are heavy chains wrapped around the inside with the bars preventing you from opening it all the way. There are windows on the side, stained glass, but this door, maybe the back door, maybe a cellar door, maybe something else, but this door seems to be barred from the inside.
Aha.
I mean, this doesn't even feel like it's worth it. Let's just rest in the car.
We just need a half an hour. That's
Yeah. That's what
Camilla
Beta
is
said.
shivering, but you turn around and you're going to stay in the ATV.
Look, they already know we're here. Let's at least announce ourselves in a way so that they know we're not a threat. Just let me
Okay.
Both
Fine,
of you
you
can
do
make
it.
search checks.
search.
Search.
Hmm. Wow.
Faith, you don't notice anything.
We're down.
Lampwick, you have 2 degrees of success. There's a lot of dust in here. Nobody's been moving around by this door.
Huh. Okay, then I don't like that. I will convey that to Faith. So whoever barred themselves from the inside did it a long time ago, either made their way out somewhere else or died in there.
Ooh, fun. I would say we should just rest in the ATV then.
Rest in the ATV.
This is
Absolutely.
not. I'm not jumping from one terrible situation into another.
Nope. Done enough of
You
that.
know, while we're here, are we like in an alcove, or is it like raining on us?
You are actually in a little alcove. There's
Okay.
a piece of a roof. There's an overhang that
Okay.
you're underneath, and there are 2 old benches here that are broken down, but you could technically rest her on that.
Yeah, I start to move Camilla towards a bench. Let's just put her here out of the rain. The rattler has slats in the roof, so it's not exactly dry.
All right, let's do that. Try to make her as comfortable as possible.
You set her down. She's asleep. And if you have a blanket or something, you can put it over her. But the 2 of you were together underneath this overhang in front of this church. I leave it to the 2 of you.
I back up to the other side of the wall. I asked you before, and you said you didn't know. I'm going to ask you one more time. What really happened to my brother? Because I know he did not turn into Romero. And I know that the 3 of you, Lampwick, Rowan, and Shira, were there when he died. So I don't think all 3 of you tried to kill him at once, unless you did. But now's the time to come clean about what happened.
Faith, you want me to be psychic. Look, I had just left you and Camilla, and I was heading in the direction that I thought Rowan and Achira were. I didn't get there in time to see anything. I took their word for it. I wasn't there to see it. If somebody lied to you, to your face, then it wasn't me. It was Rowan. If it was anybody.
Why couldn't that have been Achira?
Because Rowan was the one doing the talking. Rowan was the one that said what happened. Look, I don't know what's going on. And I don't know what lie you think people are telling you. And I am deeply sorry that you lost your brother. I really am. I know what that's like. But you're taking it out on the wrong people. And you are looking for answers in a way that's not going to get you anything but blood on your hands. Is that what you want? Because you know that that's not going to end well for anybody. He wasn't the only family you had left.
Well, either the only family I had left died of natural causes, or the only family that I do actually have left is the one that killed him. Is what you're saying.
I don't know. I know
So
what I heard.
Your stance is that you heard what? A gunshot?
I heard Omar yelling from a distance. I know it was his voice because it sounds distinctly different from that of Rowan's and Achira's. I heard him yelling. He seemed like he was pissed. I don't know what happened at all after that.
If let's say you're telling the truth. And if you are, wouldn't it be great if you could help me figure out what really happened? Even if that meant your best friend for life, Achira, was part of the problem.
She wasn't.
How can you know that? It could have been
because
both
she would
of
have
them.
told me. Because she would have told me.
Why would she tell you shit? Why would anyone not lie to anyone else?
Well, see, that's the thing. She wouldn't to me. And the fact that you find that surprising tells me a lot about your relationship with Omar. He probably...
Don't you dare bring this back
Look,
on Omar, you piece of shit.
I am not. I am telling you exactly what I see. You're saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm just repeating to you the words that have come out of your mouth. Everything you say tells me exactly how you see this fucked up world that we're in.
Why do you think you're right? The world is fucked up.
The
It's
world's always
broken.
been fucked
There's
up.
no fucking truth in it.
Faith,
Everything I was ever told was a lie, and it still is.
look, that's the world. That's how it's been before this shit. This is just bringing it all up to the surface. The world before this was the same fucking thing.
Well, I didn't have the privilege of knowing that world that made you such a better judge of character.
I'm just telling you what I see because my eyes are looking at you.
The only reason I have this conversation is
Sometimes we can't see ourselves, Faith. That's why you have to have one person to be able to watch you and look at you so that you can be reminded of who you actually are.
You think it's going to be you?
I'm not saying it has to be me. I don't know if I don't think it can be me right now.
I don't think so
Not
either.
yet.
And I also know that you're not even fucking human. I saw you talking to
I'm
those
right here
Romeros.
living and breathing. I was protecting us.
You know what, Lampwick, all you had to say was that you would help me find the truth no matter whose fault it was.
I said I can. I said I can.
And then you told me. And then you had to bring my brother into it. So I'm sorry, bud.
No. Wait. 1 second. 1 second. Before you do something.
I've already reached behind my back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Since we're in a tense situation here,
Okay.
I want you each to give me your intentions so that we're very clear on what might happen next. So let's start with you, Faith, since you seem to be moving towards a specific outcome. What is your intention in this moment, and how are you enacting it?
I've really been barely listening since you brought up my brother's name. I am enraged and trying to keep cool on the outside. I've already been planning. I've been waiting for a moment to just grab my gun and shoot. That's my plan. If something happens before that, that can happen too.
I'm gonna make a roll. Lampwick, what is your intention in this moment? I think you probably are sensing that things are not working out the way that you want them to. You're not able to get a grasp on this, and that she's becoming very aggressive. What is your intention?
Well, my intention up till now was to try to keep her calm. Oh, fuck. Shit. Look, I have words, and I am going to try to Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to calm her down. I'm going to continue to try to talk her down, but I'm letting my voice get louder. I'm letting the people that are here, nearby, I'm trying to make it so that they can hear us.
Well, I will allow
Marcus
you to
and Camila.
I'll allow you to make a calm others roll. But this is more of a narrative conflict. I'm not going to take the agency away from Faith just because Lampwick rolls well. I feel like this was role played out, and I agree with how it's playing out. And I hope that we're all on the same page. Whatever happens is going to happen, and let's just let it resolve itself. But I will let you make a calm others check, and we'll see if that maybe affects anything. Do we all agree?
Okay. Did that go through? Aha.
Yeah.
So you got 1 degree of success, but that turns it into 4
a
because
4.
it's a social skill, correct?
4.
All right.
Yep.
So technically speaking, and again, there are 2 ways we're looking at this. Technically speaking, your rage is maybe a little abated, Faith, but I want you to roleplay it the way that makes sense for you. If you've made this decision and there's a calmness to it now, you can still shoot Lampwick. You'll be doing so with a calm heart, though. This won't be an act of rage. This will be meditated. You will know exactly what you're doing, and this is going to be very cold-blooded, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. Lampwick, you know, is able to get into people's heads, and all these things about the character are well known to you. Lampwick, you have spoken your piece. You've used this, but you've also done what you intended to do. Your voice rose, and potentially others are aware now that there's something going wrong. Can you express to me what you're saying, just so that I understand the implication that someone else might hear, not Faith? But I want to hear what you're saying to Faith.
I am... Okay. So I'm telling Faith, hey, listen to me. Just give me a second. I don't want you to do anything rash. I don't want you to do anything dangerous. I don't want you to make any mistakes. I can help you. I can help you. I'm sorry about what happened to your brother. Faith, I'm here. I've been helping you and your friends. And I gestured to Camila. I've stuck my neck out for her.
I'm going to cut you off there. Our intentions are not going to play out. Are we all ready? Faith, if you're going to fire, I would like for you to roll your weapon skill with 2 blue dice. You have the gun behind your back, as you described, which means that you're going to draw it if you're going to do it. If you choose not to, that's fine. But you've already placed your hand back there. You've already made that intention clear. You can change your intention. But if that's what you want to do, I would like for you to roll it. And I'm going to come to each of you, and you can add a little bit to it. Lampwick, you're able to make a dodge check.
Okay.
As you are seeing that she's going to draw this, and effectively all you're doing is throwing yourself to the ground or over the railing or wherever you want to go. But there are limited options here for you because you can't dodge a bullet. This isn't a melee attack, right? So you might be able to get out of the way as she's drawing, but you're going to have to roll very high. It's not, a couple of successes probably aren't going to do it. And if I'm correct, you're out of competency points. Is that correct?
I am.
All right. You do have survival points, and I've stated how much those cost, so you might be able to use some of those, but this situation is a little touchy, so I may not allow it. Let's start with you, Michelle.
Who's your family, Lampwick?
Who's my family? Well, the closest thing to family I have left is Achira. Rowan saved my life. Camila, for some reason, but I know that we have to rely on more than just ourselves, Faith. And I would like to prove to you that I can. Maybe not be family right now, but that I can be your friend. And the proof is laying right next to us, asleep. I stuck my neck out. I know you think I'm someone awful. I'm not that person. That person that you think I might be wouldn't have been helping Camilla. I know you know that. Please, Faith. Stay with me. Give me a chance. I'm right here.
I look up at the
You don't have to be alone.
sign on the church. And I see my name. And I remember today hearing my name used as a sign of hope when there was none. And I sit down on the ground. Okay. We do it your way. But no. I want family, but I had family, and whoever killed the last of my family is going to burn.
I don't say anything. I just nod. And I definitely don't go so far as sit right next to Faith. But I sit close-ish. And just be.
In the rain, on the other side of the rat hole, Marcus lowers his gun. Just as you hear the sound ringing through the broken concrete of a solitary pair of horse hooves clicking as they come closer to the church. And that is where we're going to end our session tonight.